Before we dive in, a quick but important disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for informational and educational purposes only. The world of real estate and finance is complex and highly specific to your individual situation. Please consult with qualified professionals, like a financial advisor and a real estate attorney, before making any major financial decisions. Picture this: you've spent months, maybe even years scrolling through listings, and then you find it. 10 acres of pure American potential. It's got a stand of old-growth oak trees, a creek that cuts through the corner, and the perfect flat spot on a gentle rise, just waiting for your future home. It's not just dirt, it's your dream. You're buzzing with excitement. You call your bank, the same big-name bank that practically begged you to take a pre-approval for a $500,000 house in a cookie-cutter subdivision, and you tell them you want a loan for this $150,000 piece of land. And the loan officer on the other end of the line goes quiet. Then they hit you with the words that kill countless dreams every single day. "I'm sorry, we don't finance raw land." Or worse, they offer you a loan with a down payment so high and an interest rate so brutal, it feels like they're actively trying to punish you for even asking. This is the exact moment where the dream of owning land dies for most people. They hit this wall, get discouraged, and assume it's impossible. That buying land is a secret club reserved only for the super rich who can pay with cash. But that's a myth. And today we are going to shatter it. The reason the bank told you no isn't because you can't afford it, and it isn't because your dream is invalid. It's because you walked in asking for the wrong thing, speaking the wrong language. You were trying to buy a completely different product using the rules for a standard home mortgage. And that will never ever work. By the end of this video, you are going to understand the fundamental truth about financing land in America. You'll know exactly why banks see a beautiful 10-acre parcel not as an asset, but as a terrifying risk. We're going to pull back the curtain on the lender's mindset so you can understand their fears and, more importantly, how to calm them. You will learn the critical differences between raw land, unimproved land, and improved land. Because knowing which category your property falls into is the key that unlocks the right type of financing. This isn't just a video. This is your playbook. This is the knowledge that turns a bank's no into a negotiation. It's the confidence to walk into a local credit union or talk to a seller about financing and control the conversation because you finally understand the game. So let's start with the big burning question. Why is getting a loan for land so ridiculously hard? Why does a bank that will happily lend you $400,000 for a depreciating townhouse on a tiny lot break into a cold sweat when you ask for a quarter of that amount for a piece of appreciating land? The answer comes down to one word: risk. But it's more nuanced than you think. First, let's talk about collateral. When you get a mortgage for a house, the bank has excellent collateral. If you stop paying, they foreclose and they get a house. A house has a roof, 4 walls, plumbing, and electricity. It's a finished product. It's easy to value, easy to list, and in most markets, relatively easy to sell. Someone can move into it tomorrow. Raw land, on the other hand, is pure potential. It's an unfinished product. To a lender, it's a liability. If you default on a land loan, what do they get back? Piece of dirt. They can't rent it out to a tenant to cover their costs. They can't just list it on the MLS and expect it to sell in 30 days. The market for raw land is significantly smaller and less liquid than the market for homes. It might take them months or even years to sell that parcel and recoup their money. In the world of banking, time is money, and illiquid assets are poison. Second is the problem of valuation. Appraising a house in a subdivision is simple. You just look at what 3 other identical houses on the same street sold for in the last 6 months. Boom, you have your value. How do you value a unique piece of land? There are no direct comparables. Is it worth more because it has a creek? Is it worth less because it's heavily wooded and will cost a fortune to clear? Does the lack of a paved road cut its value in half? It's subjective. And this subjectivity makes lenders incredibly nervous. They hate gray areas. They want a hard, defensible number, and with land, that's often a moving target. The third and most powerful fear is the flight risk of the borrower. Think about it. If you're about to lose your job and have to choose which loan to stop paying first, the loan on the roof over your family's head, or the loan on the vacant piece of land an hour out of town where you hope to build someday, which one are you going to let go? You're going to fight tooth and nail to keep your home. The land is a luxury. The house is a necessity. Banks know this. They know that in a financial downturn, a land loan is often the first thing a borrower will default on. It's a speculative investment in their eyes, not a primary shelter. This makes you, the land-buying dreamer, look like a high-risk speculator in their underwriting models, whether it's true or not. So, because of this perceived risk, the illiquid collateral, the fuzzy valuation, and the high default probability, lenders protect themselves. They aren't in the business of taking risks. They're in the business of making predictable profits. To offset their fear, they shift the risk back onto you. That's why they demand enormous down payments, often 20%, 30%, or even 50%. If you have that much of your own money invested, you're far less likely to walk away. It's why they charge you a higher interest rate. They're pricing in the risk of default. And it's why they offer shorter loan terms or amortization periods. They don't want to be tied to an unpredictable asset for 30 years. They might offer you a loan that's due in full in 5 or 10 years, known as a balloon payment, forcing you to either pay it off or refinance it in a much shorter time frame. Understanding this mindset is the first major step. You have to stop thinking like a home buyer. You have to realize you're not just buying a different asset. You're applying for a completely different class of financial product. The rules you learned about FHA loans with 3.5% down and 30-year fixed rates? You need to throw them out the window. They do not apply here. This is a different world, and it requires a different strategy. And the first part of that strategy is to correctly identify what you're actually buying. Because the loan for a patch of desert wilderness is not the same as the loan for a build-ready lot in a new development, and knowing the difference is what will finally get you that approval. So let's break it down. There are 3 main flavors of land you'll encounter, and the lender sees each one in a radically different light. Think of it as a spectrum of risk, from a wild gamble to a sure thing. On one end of that spectrum, you have the dream that fuels 1,000 Instagram posts. Raw land. This is the untamed American wilderness. No roads, no water, no power, no sewer. It's just you, the dirt, and the sky. You might access it via a forgotten dirt track, or maybe you need a helicopter. This is the off-grid fantasy, the self-sufficient homestead, the ultimate escape. It's beautiful, it's pure, and to a bank it is terrifying. Why? Because a lender thinks in terms of collateral. If you stop making payments, what can they take back and sell to get their money? With a house, it's simple. They take the house. But with 100 acres of raw, inaccessible desert or swamp, what is that worth? Its value is purely speculative. There's no easy way to sell it. There's no guarantee anyone else will ever want it. But the bank's fear isn't even your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is the hidden price tag. That cheap raw land is a Trojan horse filled with colossal expenses. You want water? You're not calling the city. You're drilling a well. That can be $10, $20, even $50,000 with no guarantee you'll even hit water. You want power? You're not just paying a setup fee. You're paying the utility company upwards of $25 a foot to run new power lines and poles, potentially for miles. That can easily run into 6 figures. You need a bathroom? You're installing a septic system which involves soil percolation tests, permits, and heavy machinery, costing another $15,000 to $30,000. And we haven't even talked about clearing the land, grading it, and building a road just to get construction equipment onto the site. Buying raw land isn't like buying a canvas to paint on. It's like buying a plot of land on the moon. The potential is infinite, but you have to bring your own oxygen, water, and life support. A lender knows this. They know that the vast majority of people who buy raw land with big dreams run out of money long before a single wall goes up. And when the money runs out, the payments stop. And they're left holding a worthless piece of dirt. That's why getting a loan for raw land from a traditional bank is next to impossible. It's the highest risk category, and they will avoid it at all costs. Now let's take one step in from the wilderness. This brings us to the most common, and perhaps the most deceptive category, unimproved land. This is the middle ground. It's not totally wild, but it's not ready to go either. This could be a parcel on a public road that just never got developed. It might be in a subdivision that was planned 30 years ago but never finished. There's excess, which is a huge step up from raw land. And if you look at a map, you'll see utility lines, power, water, maybe even sewer running nearby, maybe just down the street. This is where so many buyers get trapped. They see the road, they see the power lines a few hundred feet away, and they think, perfect. It's basically ready. But here's the critical difference. With unimproved land, those services are nearby, but they are not connected to the property line. And that last 100 feet, that last 1,000 feet, that's the gap where your life savings can disappear. A lender looks at unimproved land with cautious optimism. They see a clearer path forward than with raw land. There's a road. The utilities exist. The risk is lower, but it's still very, very real. They know that the cost to bridge that gap, To run a water main, to install a transformer, to get a sewer connection can be wildly unpredictable. It could be a few $1,000s, or it could be $100,000 depending on the terrain, the local regulations, and the utility company's mood that day. Your job as the buyer becomes one of a detective. You have to do the legwork that the lender is too scared to do. You have to call the county planning and zoning department and ask the magic questions. Are there any easements? Are there building moratoriums? What are the setbacks? You have to call the electric company and get a formal quote in writing for the cost to run service to your future home site. You have to call the water department and get a quote for a water meter and a tap-in fee. If there's no city sewer, you're back in the world of septic systems and percolation tests. Think of unimproved land like buying a car engine. It's a vital, expensive component, but it is not a car. You still need to buy the transmission, the wheels, the chassis, and the steering wheel before it can actually take you anywhere. The potential is there, but the final cost and effort are still big, scary question marks. For a lender, question marks equal risk. So while you can get a loan for unimproved land, it's going to be tougher. They will scrutinize your plans, your budget, and your experience much more closely. They need to believe that you are the person who can actually turn that engine into a functioning car. Finally, we arrive at the other end of the spectrum. The lender's dream. The buyer's easy button. Improved land, also known as a build-ready or finished lot. This is the filet mignon of land purchasing. This is a parcel where a developer has already done all the dirty, expensive, and uncertain work for you. The roads are paved. The curbs are in. There's a water pipe and a sewer connection stubbed out, right there on your property line waiting for you. There's a green or gray utility box sitting on the corner of the lot with power and communications ready to go. This is the lot in the new master plan community. It's the infill lot in an established neighborhood. When you buy this, you are buying certainty. You know you have the right to build. You know you have access to all the essential services. All of those massive, terrifying financial question marks from the raw and unimproved land categories, they've been answered, and they've been paid for. Of course, you're the one paying for them in the end. Improved lots are, by far, the most expensive type of land per acre. You are paying a massive premium for the convenience and the de-risking that the developer undertook. You might also be subject to more rules, homeowners associations, architectural review committees, restrictions on what kind and size of house you can build. Your freedom is exchanged for predictability, but from a lender's perspective, this is gold. The risk is minimized. They see a clear, simple, predictable path from empty lot to a finished, valuable house, the ultimate collateral. The project timeline is shorter, the budget is more reliable, and the chances of success are infinitely higher. Getting a loan for an improved, build-ready lot is the easiest path by a country mile. It's the closest you can get to a traditional home mortgage because the asset is so well defined and the risks are so low. So, when you're scrolling through those listings, you're not just looking at acreage and price. You're looking at risk. You're looking at a raw land gamble, an unimproved land puzzle, or an improved land package. Identifying which one you're dealing with is the absolute first step. It dictates the questions you need to ask, the budget you need to have, and most importantly, the type of loan you'll be able to get. Knowing this puts you ahead of 99% of other land buyers. You've now matched your dream to a real-world category. You've decided to play it safe. You've found a perfect, build-ready lot with utilities at the curb. You walk into the bank confident and you tell them you want a loan. And that's when they look at you and say, "Great, we can help with that. We're going to need a 35% down payment." Your heart sinks. 35%. That's not a mortgage. And they're right. It isn't. Because a loan for even the safest piece of land is a fundamentally different beast than a home mortgage, and understanding that one crucial difference is the next key to unlocking a lower down payment and a better deal. So what is that one crucial difference? It's not about the dirt, the trees, or the zoning. It's about fear. Specifically, the bank's fear. When you buy a house, the bank sees a predictable, stable asset. They have decades of data on home values. They know that if you stop paying, they can foreclose, sell the house relatively quickly, and get their money back. The house itself is the ultimate safety net. It's solid, it has 4 walls, a roof, and millions of people are always looking to buy one. In the world of finance, a house is what's called liquid collateral. It's easy to turn back into cash. But raw land? To a lender, raw land is the Wild West. It's a question mark. It's a gamble. If you stop making payments on a piece of raw land in the middle of nowhere, what is the bank left with? A patch of earth. They can't just list it on Zillow and have a dozen families show up for an open house on Sunday. The pool of potential buyers is tiny. It could take them years, even a decade, to sell it and recoup their investment. During that time, they have to pay property taxes on it, deal with liability, and watch as their money sits tied up in something that isn't generating any income. For a bank, this is a nightmare scenario. They aren't in the business of owning land. They're in the business of lending money and collecting interest. Getting stuck with your property is a catastrophic failure for them. And because of that deep-seated fear, they have created a completely different set of rules for lending on it. They protect themselves by shifting the risk from their shoulders directly onto yours. They do this with higher down payments, shorter loan terms, and higher interest rates. Understanding this fear is your secret weapon, because once you know what they're afraid of, you can understand why they structure their loans the way they do, and more importantly, how to find the land that makes them the least afraid. This is where we get into the three main categories of land loans. You'll hear different names for these, but they all boil down to one thing: how much work and risk is left before someone can actually live there. Think of it as a spectrum of risk, from terrifying to manageable in the bank's eyes. On the most terrifying end of that spectrum, you have the raw land loan. This is for land that is completely undeveloped. No utilities, no road access, no sewer, no water. It's just a plot of land as nature made it. Maybe it's a 40-acre wooded parcel accessible only by a dirt path, or a piece of desert scrub miles from the nearest power line. When you go to a bank and say, "I want to buy that," you can almost hear the alarm bells go off in their heads. They see zero infrastructure. They see a massive, expensive, and uncertain road ahead just to make the land usable. What if you can't get a permit to drill a well? What if the cost to run electricity is $100,000 more than you thought? What if you just give up? The bank is now stuck with a piece of property that is, for all practical purposes, useless to the average person. Because of this extreme risk, a raw land loan comes with the harshest terms imaginable. First, the down payment. Forget the 3 to 5% you hear about with home loans. For raw land, the bank will demand you put down a massive chunk of your own cash. We're talking 30, 40, sometimes even 50%. They're essentially telling you, if you believe in this risky project so much, you need to have a ton of your own skin in the game. If this goes south, we want to make sure you lose a lot more than we do. Second, the loan term. A typical home mortgage is 30 years. A raw land loan? You'll be lucky to get 10 or 15. Often, they're as short as 3 to 5 years with a massive balloon payment at the end, meaning you have to pay off the entire remaining balance in one lump sum. The bank doesn't want to be tied to this risky asset for 30 years. They want their money back, and they want it back fast. And finally, the interest rate. It will be significantly higher than a home mortgage rate. Again, it's all about risk. The higher the risk for the lender, the higher the reward they demand in the form of interest. So, if you're financing $100,000, you're not just facing a $50,000 down payment, you're also paying more in interest every single month, all while having to pay it back in a fraction of the time. It's a triple whammy. Now let's take one step down the ladder of risk. This brings us to the second category, the unimproved land loan. This is a bit of a gray area, but it's a crucial one. Unimproved land is a step above raw. It might have some basic amenities nearby, but they aren't connected directly to the property line. For example, the property might have legal road access, even if it's just a gravel road. There might be a power line that runs along that road, a quarter mile from your plot. A survey might have been done, and the property lines are clearly marked. From the bank's perspective, some of the major question marks have been answered. They know you can at least get to the property. They know electricity is within a reasonable distance, so the cost to connect it won't be astronomical. The path from patch of dirt to place to build a home is a little clearer, a little shorter. The risk for them is still high, but it's not the red alert 5-alarm fire that raw land is. And so, the terms get a little bit better. The down payment might drop from 50% into the 25 to 35% range. The loan term might extend to a more comfortable 15 years, sometimes even 20. The interest rate will still be higher than a home mortgage, but it will be noticeably lower than a raw land loan. You're being rewarded for reducing the lender's risk. And this brings us to the third and final category, the one that makes banks the most comfortable, the improved land loan. This is for land that is essentially build-ready. It's often called a lot loan, because you're typically buying a lot in an established or planned subdivision. This land has all the key infrastructure in place. It has paved road frontage. Water, sewer, and electricity are already run to the edge of the property, ready for you to hook into. The land has been surveyed, platted, and is often in an area with other homes already built. When you bring this property to a lender, they can finally breathe a sigh of relief. This they understand. This looks a lot more like the safe, predictable house loans they deal with every day. They can see a clear, direct path to a home being built. The biggest risks, access and utilities, have been completely eliminated. They know that if you default, they'll be left with a prime, buildable lot that another family or a builder would be happy to snap up. The collateral is much more liquid. Because the risk is the lowest of the three categories, the terms are the best. The down payment requirement can fall to 20 or even 15% in some cases. The loan terms can stretch out to 20 or 25 years, looking much more like a traditional mortgage. And the interest rate will be the most competitive you can get for a land-only purchase. So you have this spectrum: raw land with its terrifying risk and brutal terms, unimproved land, the middle ground with slightly better terms, and improved land, the safest bet for a lender, offering the best terms you can get. Knowing this is a game changer. It means the type of land you choose to pursue will directly dictate the financial mountain you have to climb. You might be able to afford the price of a 40-acre raw parcel, but can you afford the 50% down payment and the punishing monthly payments that come with it? Maybe a smaller 5-acre improved lot, even if the sticker price is the same, becomes far more attainable because the bank is willing to meet you halfway with a lower down payment and a longer term. But here's the thing. All three of these loan types, from the best to the worst, still generally have tougher terms than a standard home mortgage. They are still seen as riskier by traditional banks. And that begs the question, what if a traditional bank isn't your only option? What if there are other lenders, other programs designed specifically for people who want to buy land, with terms that can be even better than an improved lot loan? What if the secret to the best possible deal isn't about finding the perfect land for the bank, but finding a completely different type of lender altogether? This alternate lender isn't a faceless corporation in a skyscraper. It's not a small-town credit union with a 3-week waiting list. The most overlooked, most flexible, and often most motivated lender you can find is the person who currently owns the land. It's called seller financing, or owner financing, or in real estate circles, you'll hear them say the owner will carry the note. It all means the same thing. Instead of you going to a bank to get a massive loan and then handing that cash to the seller, you cut the bank out entirely. You make a down payment directly to the seller, and then you pay the rest of the purchase price to them in monthly installments plus interest, just like you would with a regular mortgage. In essence, the seller becomes your bank. Now, the first question that pops into your head is probably, why on earth would a seller agree to do that? Why wouldn't they just want all their cash up front? It's a great question, and the answer reveals why this is such a powerful tool. First, it dramatically expands their pool of potential buyers. Suddenly, they're not just limited to people who can walk into a bank and get a 6-figure loan for a patch of dirt. They can sell to people with less than perfect credit, or who are self-employed, or who simply don't fit the rigid box that traditional lenders require. More buyers means more competition, which often means a better price for the seller. Second, it can mean a much faster, smoother sale. There's no underwriter asking for your third-grade report card. There's no loan committee that meets once a fortnight on a Tuesday. There's no bank-required appraisal that could come in low and blow up the whole deal. It's a direct negotiation between two people, which can cut weeks, even months, off the closing process. Third, and this is a big one, the seller makes more money. Not only do they get their asking price for the land, but they also get to collect interest from you every single month for years. They're turning a static asset, a piece of land, into a cash-flowing income stream. For a retiree, for example, that's far more attractive than a lump sum of cash that just sits in a low-yield savings account. They get a mailbox money check from you every month. And finally, there can be significant tax advantages for the seller. By receiving the payment over several years as an installment sale, they can often defer and reduce their capital gains tax liability, instead of taking one massive tax hit in a single year. So, when you understand these benefits, you realize you're not asking for a favor. You're proposing a mutually beneficial business transaction. But let's talk about the real reason we're here. The massive advantages for you, the buyer. This is where the game completely changes. The number one advantage is flexibility. Absolute, total flexibility. With a bank, the terms are the terms. The down payment is 20, 30, maybe 50%. The interest rate is set by a computer in another state. The amortization schedule is 15 years, period. It's a take-it-or-leave-it proposition. With seller financing, everything is on the table. Everything. Can you only afford a 10% down payment? Propose it. Need a longer loan term to get the monthly payment down? Propose it. Want to pay interest only for the first 2 years while you save up to build? Propose it. You can negotiate the interest rate, the length of the loan, the down payment, even whether there's a penalty for paying it off early. You are crafting a custom-fit loan that works for your specific situation, not trying to squeeze yourself into a loan product designed for the masses. The second huge advantage is accessibility. Traditional land loans are notoriously hard to qualify for. Banks see raw land as pure speculation. They look at your credit score, your debt-to-income ratio, your employment history, and if any single one of those things is slightly off, you're denied. A seller, on the other hand, is often more interested in your character and your vision for the property. If you can sit down with them, look them in the eye, and explain your plan that you want to build a small family homestead or start a small organic farm, they are judging you as a person, not just as a FICO score. This opens the door for so many people who are otherwise locked out of land ownership. And then there's the savings in both time and money. Closing costs on a seller finance deal are almost always lower. You're cutting out a ton of the bank's junk fees. No loan origination fees, no processing fees, no underwriting fees. This can save you thousands of dollars right at the closing table. So how does this all work legally? You can't just do this on a handshake. It's a real legally binding loan. The process involves 2 critical documents. The first is the promissory note. Think of this as the master IOU. It's the contract that spells out all the terms you negotiated. The total loan amount, the interest rate, the monthly payment amount, the payment due date, the length of the loan, and any penalties for late payments. This is the core of the agreement. The second document is what's called a security instrument. In most states, this will be either a mortgage or a deed of trust. They function in a similar way. This is the document that gets publicly recorded and attaches the loan to the property. It's what gives the seller security. It says that if you stop making payments as promised in the promissory note, the seller has the legal right to foreclose on the property and take it back to satisfy the debt. This protects the seller. But it also protects you, because once it's recorded, it proves your legal interest in the property. It is absolutely critical that these documents are drafted correctly by a qualified real estate attorney or a title company. I repeat, do not download a generic form from the internet. The small amount of money you spend on professional legal help will protect your massive investment in the land. Okay, so this sounds great, but where do you find these deals? It's easier than you think. When you're searching on websites like Zillow, LandWatch, or Land.com, look for keywords in the property description. Phrases like owner financing available, seller will carry, or owner contract. Many of these sites even have a filter you can check to only show you properties where the owner is offering financing. But the real pro tip is this: just ask. Even if the listing doesn't mention it, it doesn't mean the seller isn't open to it. Many sellers, especially older individuals who own the land free and clear, simply haven't considered it. When you make an offer, you can make the offer contingent on the seller carrying a note for a certain percentage of the price. You might be surprised at how many people say yes once they understand the benefits for them. Now, as amazing as seller financing can be, it's not a magic bullet. There are potential pitfalls you have to watch out for. Sometimes, a seller will ask for a higher interest rate than a bank would, as a trade-off for the flexibility and easier qualification. You have to run the numbers and decide if that trade-off is worth it for you. You also have to be very careful about something called a due on sale clause. If the seller still has an existing mortgage on the property themselves, their loan almost certainly has a clause that says the entire balance is due immediately if they sell the property. If they try to sell to you via owner financing without paying off their own bank, they could trigger that clause, creating a massive legal nightmare for everyone involved. A good title search will uncover this, which is another reason you never skip professional help. Finally, be on the lookout for a balloon payment. This is a very common feature in seller finance deals. It might be a loan that's calculated over 30 years to keep the payments low, but the entire remaining balance is due in full after, say, 5 or 7 years. The seller is betting that by then, you'll have improved the property or your credit, and will be able to get a traditional bank loan to pay them off. This can be a great strategy, but it's also a risk. If you can't get that new loan when the balloon payment is due, you could default and lose the property. Seller financing is a powerful creative tool. It can be the key that unlocks the door to a piece of land you thought was completely out of reach. It puts you back in the driver's seat, allowing you to craft a deal that truly works for you. But crafting that deal is an art. Now that you know what seller financing is and how to find it, we need to talk about negotiation. How do you structure that promissory note to protect yourself from disaster? What are the non-negotiable clauses you must insist on including? And what are the ones you should run away from? And what's the single biggest mistake buyers make that could allow a seller to legally take back the land and keep every penny you've already paid them? We'll break down the anatomy of an ironclad seller finance deal in the next part. So let's talk about that single biggest mistake. The one that can turn your American dream into an absolute nightmare. It's a legal trap disguised as a simple agreement, and it's called a contract for deed. You might also hear it called a land contract or an installment sale agreement. The name sounds harmless enough, but the devil is in the details of who holds the title. In a proper, safe seller finance transaction, two key things happen at closing. First, you sign a promissory note. This is your IOU to the seller. It spells out the loan amount, the interest rate, the monthly payment, and the term of the loan. It's the what of the agreement. Second, you sign a security instrument, which is usually a mortgage or a deed of trust. This document links the loan directly to the land. It's the collateral part of the deal that says, if I don't pay this IOU, the seller has a legal right to foreclose on this specific piece of property to get their money back. And here's the most important part. At that same closing, the seller signs the deed over to you. Your name goes on the title. You are the legal owner of the land from day one. The mortgage or deed of trust is then recorded in the county public records, creating a lien against your property. Everyone knows you own the land, and everyone knows the seller has a loan against it. This is the safe, standard, and correct way to do it. A contract for deed flips this entire process on its head. With a contract for deed, you make payments directly to the seller, often for years, but the seller keeps the legal title to the property in their name. You don't get the deed. You don't become the legal owner. You get what's called equitable title, which is basically the right to eventually get the deed if you fulfill every single term of the contract perfectly. See the problem? You're paying for something you don't actually own. You're often responsible for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance just like an owner, but you hold none of the power. The deed, the ultimate proof of ownership, sits in the seller's filing cabinet. And this is where the trap springs. Most of these contracts contain something called a forfeiture clause. This clause states that if you miss a single payment, or are even a day late, you are in default of the contract. And if you default, the seller can cancel the agreement, evict you from the property, and, here's the brutal part, keep every single penny you have ever paid them. All your down payment, all your monthly payments, all the money you spent clearing the land or paying taxes gone. It legally converts from your equity into their profit. You walk away with nothing. You were essentially just a renter who paid for the privilege of improving the seller's land for free. Imagine paying on a 10-acre property for 9 years. You're one payment away from owning it free and clear. You lose your job and your last payment is 2 weeks late. With a forfeiture clause in a contract for deed, the seller could legally cancel the contract and take back the land. It is financially devastating, and it happens more than you think. So, red flag number 1, the biggest one of all, any deal where the seller wants to keep the deed in their name until you've paid in full. If the words contract for deed or land contract come up, you don't walk away. You run. You insist on a traditional promissory note with the mortgage or deed of trust that gets recorded, and you insist that the title is transferred to your name at closing. No exceptions. Now let's look at the other critical terms and red flags you need to have on your radar. Let's start with the promissory note. This is the engine of your deal. It needs to be crystal clear. What is the exact interest rate? Is it fixed for the life of the loan? Or is it an adjustable rate? For seller financing, you almost always want a fixed rate so your payment never unexpectedly changes. What about the amortization schedule? This shows how much of each payment goes towards principal and how much goes towards interest. In the early years, most of the payment will be interest. You want to see a clear schedule so you know exactly how your equity is building over time. A huge red flag is a seller who is vague on these details. If they can't provide you with a clear amortization schedule or the terms seem fuzzy, it suggests they either don't know what they're doing or they're intentionally being obscure. Next, look for the prepayment penalty clause. This is a sneaky one. A prepayment penalty means if you want to pay off the loan early, maybe you come into some money or you want to refinance with a traditional bank at a lower rate, the seller can charge you a fee for doing so. They do this because they were counting on collecting interest from you for the full term of the loan. You want to make sure your agreement has no prepayment penalty. You should have the freedom to pay off your property at any time without being punished for it. Another crucial term is the late fee provision. It's reasonable for a seller to charge a late fee if you miss a payment deadline. But what's reasonable? A flat fee of $25 or $50, or maybe 5% of the monthly payment, is pretty standard. A red flag is an excessive or predatory late fee structure, like a fee that compounds daily or an enormous percentage of the loan balance. It can be a sign the seller is hoping you'll slip up so they can profit from it. Now let's talk about a big one that can blow up the whole deal: the seller's own mortgage. You have to ask the seller, do you own this property free and clear? Or do you have an existing loan on it? If they have a loan, that loan almost certainly contains a due on sale clause. This clause gives their bank the right to demand the entire loan balance be paid in full immediately if the seller transfers any interest in the property to someone else, someone like you. So if the seller doesn't own the land outright, and they try to sell it to you with seller financing without getting permission from their bank, they are violating their own mortgage terms. If their bank finds out, they can call the loan. The seller would suddenly owe their bank hundreds of thousands of dollars. If they can't pay, the bank forecloses. And because the bank's mortgage was recorded before your deal, their claim comes first. The bank takes the property and you get wiped out. You could lose your down payment, your equity, everything. So red flag number 3. A seller with an existing mortgage who is cagey about it or hasn't gotten written permission from their lender. You must verify this. You can hire a title company or an attorney to run a title search, which will reveal any existing liens or mortgages on the property. Never ever take the seller's word for it. Finally, the last major red flag is a seller who resists professional oversight. If a seller says, "Hey, let's just download a form online, sign it at the kitchen table, and we'll be good to go. No need to pay for lawyers or a title company." This is a siren's call for disaster. Using a professional third party, like a real estate attorney or a title and escrow company, is non-negotiable. They ensure the paperwork is legally sound and state compliant. They handle the money so you know your down payment is safe. Most importantly, they make sure the title is clean and that all the documents, your deed, and the seller's mortgage lien, are properly recorded with the county. That public recording is your ultimate protection. It's what puts the world on notice that you are the owner, and that any other claims come after yours. A seller who wants to avoid this is a seller who is either ignorant of the risks or, worse, is trying to hide something. So the anatomy of an ironclad deal is clear. A full transfer of title to you at closing, secured by a properly recorded mortgage or deed of trust, with a crystal-clear promissory note, all handled by a professional third party. Now that you know what a safe deal looks like and the dangerous traps to avoid, how do you actually sit across the table from a seller and negotiate the best possible terms? How do you argue for a lower interest rate? How do you get them to accept a smaller down payment? And what creative financing structures can you propose that benefit both you and the seller? The art of the deal is next. Let's reframe this entire process. Negotiation isn't about confrontation. It's not about winning or losing. It's a game of discovery, a puzzle where you and the seller are trying to fit the pieces together to create a picture you both like. The secret is that you have more pieces, more levers to pull than you think. Your goal isn't to bulldoze the seller. It's to lead them to a conclusion that also happens to be exactly what you want. And it all starts before you ever say a word to them. The single greatest mistake buyers make is thinking the negotiation begins when they make an offer. Wrong. The negotiation begins the moment you identify a property you're interested in. This is your preparation phase, and this is where 90% of the deal is won or lost. You need to become a private investigator. Your primary subject? The seller's motivation. Why are they selling this specific piece of land right now? Is it an inheritance they just want to offload? Are they facing financial trouble? Are they moving out of state? Are they a developer selling off a parcel? You can find clues everywhere. Look at the county records online. How long have they owned the property? If they've owned it for 30 years, they likely have zero mortgage and bought it for pennies on the dollar. This means they have immense flexibility on price and terms. Every dollar they get is profit. But if they just bought it 2 years ago with a loan, their wiggle room is almost zero. They have a hard number they need to hit just to break even. Look at the property tax records. Are the taxes delinquent? That's a giant flashing sign that says, motivated seller. Scour the original listing. Does it say price for a quick sale or all reasonable offers considered? Those are cries for help. Understanding why they are selling is the key that unlocks the entire negotiation. A seller who wants to sell is a business partner. A seller who needs to sell is your golden ticket. While you're playing detective on them, you need to get your own house in order. This means having your financing pre-approved and your proof of funds ready to go. A seller is infinitely more likely to negotiate with someone who can prove they can close the deal tomorrow versus a tire kicker who might be able to get a loan. A pre-approval letter isn't just a piece of paper. It's a weapon. It shows you're serious, you're qualified, and you're not here to waste their time. This instantly puts you in the top tier of potential buyers. Now let's talk about the dance itself. The back and forth. Rule number 1, and please burn this into your brain. Never ever make the first offer. This is a fundamental law of negotiation. The first person to name a number loses. Why? Because you might offer far more than they were secretly willing to accept. Let's say a property is listed for $120,000. You think, I'll be aggressive and offer $100,000. But what you don't know is that the seller is desperate and would have privately accepted $85,000. By making the first offer, you just cost yourself 15 grand. Always make them set the anchor price. When they ask what you're thinking, you deflect. I'm still evaluating the property, but I'm very interested. What's the lowest price you'd be willing to accept? Put the pressure back on them. When you do make your offer, every number must have a reason. Don't just pull a number out of thin air. Justify it with logic and data. For example, the property is listed at $120,000, but my research shows that 2 similar 10-acre parcels in this county, without road frontage, have sold in the last 6 months for an average of $95,000. Furthermore, my initial estimate to run electricity to the build site is about $10,000. Based on that, I'm prepared to offer $85,000. See the difference? You're not a lowballer. You're a savvy, data-driven buyer. You've turned a subjective haggle into an objective discussion. This makes it incredibly difficult for them to dismiss your offer out of hand. And remember, you are not just negotiating the price. This is where amateurs get stuck. Professionals negotiate the entire deal. The price is just one line item. Don't want to come up on price? Fine. Ask the seller to pay for the survey. That's $1,000 back in your pocket. Ask them to cover all the closing costs. That could be another 2 to 3% of the purchase price. Can you negotiate the closing date? Maybe you need 90 days to finalize your financing, or maybe a quick 15-day close is valuable to them and they'll give you a discount for it. Is there an old tractor or some equipment on the property? Ask for it to be included. Each of these things has a real-world dollar value. By expanding the pie beyond just the price, you create more ways to win. But this is where we separate the amateurs from the true deal makers. The most powerful tool in your entire arsenal, especially for raw land, is creative financing. Specifically, seller financing. This is the ultimate win-win. Seller financing is when the owner of the land acts as the bank. Instead of you getting a mortgage from a traditional lender, you make monthly payments directly to the seller. Now, why on earth would a seller agree to this? The reasons are incredibly compelling. First, they get a much larger pool of potential buyers. Suddenly, people who couldn't get a conventional land loan can afford their property. Second, they get a steady stream of monthly income. Instead of one big lump sum of cash that gets taxed heavily, they get a monthly check for the next 5, 10, or even 20 years. For a retiree, this is a dream come true. It's like creating their own private pension. Third, they can often get a higher sale price. You might be willing to pay their full asking price of $120,000 if they're willing to offer you flexible financing with a low down payment. They get their price, you get the land. Everybody wins. Here's how you pitch it. You say, I love your property and I'm prepared to offer you your full asking price. However, instead of going through a bank, I'd like to propose a structure where I pay you directly. I can put down 15%, which is $18,000, and then I'll pay you monthly installments at a 7% interest rate for the next 10 years. You'll be earning more interest than any bank could offer you. You get a reliable monthly income, and you get the full price you wanted for your land. You've just changed the entire conversation. You're not asking for a discount. You're offering them a high-yield investment. The key terms you negotiate in a seller financing deal are the down payment, the interest rate, and the amortization schedule, the length of the loan. You can also propose a balloon payment, which is very common. This means you might make smaller, interest-only payments for, say, 5 years, at which point the entire remaining balance, the balloon, is due. This gives you 5 years to enjoy the land, improve it, and secure traditional financing to pay the seller off. This one strategy, seller financing, can get you into a deal with far less cash out of pocket and without ever having to step foot inside a bank. It's about solving the seller's problem. Their problem isn't just getting rid of the land. It's what to do with the money afterwards. You solve that problem by turning their illiquid asset into a cash-flowing machine. You've found their motivation. You've built your case with data. You've negotiated the entire deal, not just the price. And you've presented a creative financing solution that works for everyone. You get the seller to sign on the dotted line, and you feel that incredible rush of victory. You've done it. You've locked up your dream property. But I need to be very clear. This is not the time to celebrate. In fact, the moment the purchase agreement is signed is the moment the real risk begins. You've agreed to buy it, but you don't truly know what you're buying yet. You've entered the most critical and treacherous phase of the entire process, where a single misstep, one unchecked box, can turn your American dream into an absolute financial catastrophe. This is the due diligence period, and what you discover in the next 30 to 60 days will determine the entire future of your investment. This is your mission, should you choose to accept it, to become a private investigator, a historian, and a geologist all rolled into one. Your target? The very piece of earth you want to call your own. The stakes? Your entire financial future. The clock is ticking. Your first order of business is the physical investigation. This isn't just about walking the property and admiring the view. This is about understanding the ground beneath your feet, literally. And it starts with a survey. You might think, the seller showed me the property lines, I have a rough idea. A rough idea is how you end up building your dream workshop 10 feet onto your neighbor's property, sparking a legal battle that drains your savings and turns your peaceful retreat into a war zone. A licensed surveyor doesn't deal in rough ideas. They deal in precision. They will physically mark the corners of your property, creating an official map, a legal document that defines your kingdom. They will identify any easements, those hidden legal pathways other people or companies have to use your land. That beautiful open meadow where you envisioned your home? A survey might reveal a 50-foot wide utility easement running right through the middle, meaning the power company can show up with a backhoe anytime they want, and you can never, ever build on it. Getting a survey isn't an expense. It's the single best insurance policy you can buy. Next, you need to play geologist with what's called a percolation test, or perk test. This sounds technical, but it answers a very simple, very critical question. Can the ground absorb water? If you're not connecting to a city sewer system, you'll need a septic system. A septic system only works if the soil can effectively filter and drain wastewater. If your soil is dense clay or solid rock, water just sits there. The land fails the perk test. And a failed perk test means no septic permit. No septic permit means no house. Period. Imagine paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a stunning piece of land, only to discover it's functionally a beautiful, unusable rock garden, because it can't handle a toilet flush. This one test can be the difference between a homestead and a heartbreak. While you're digging in the dirt, you need to look for environmental red flags. An environmental site assessment, especially for land near industrial areas or old farms, can uncover ghosts of the past. Was this property once a gas station where the underground tanks leaked? Was it a farm where pesticides were dumped for decades? Is a portion of it a protected wetland where you can't even clear a walking path without federal approval? These are the invisible deal breakers, the toxic secrets that can render your land worthless or saddle you with a cleanup bill that costs more than the land itself. Once you've interrogated the land, it's time to interrogate its history. This is the legal due diligence, and it begins with a professional title search. A title company will comb through decades, sometimes centuries of public records. They're looking for any clouds on the title. A cloud could be an old unpaid mortgage from a previous owner. It could be a tax lien from the county. It could be a long-lost heir from a family that owned the land in 1920, who technically still has a claim. These are legal tripwires. The title search is designed to find them and defuse them before you close. If they can't be cleared, the title is considered uninsurable, and no lender will touch it. This is also when you buy title insurance, which protects you from any of these ghosts that the title search might have missed. It's a one-time fee that protects you for as long as you own the property. Don't even think about skipping it. Then you have to become a student of the law, specifically zoning ordinances and covenants. Zoning is the county or city telling you what you're allowed to do. Is the land zoned for residential, agricultural, or commercial use? You might want to run a small business from your property, but if it's zoned strictly residential, you're out of luck. You might want to have a few goats and chickens, but local ordinances might prohibit livestock on parcels under a certain size. These rules are non-negotiable. Even more restrictive can be covenants, conditions, and restrictions, or CC&RS. These are rules baked into the deed by previous owners or developers. They can dictate everything from the minimum square footage of your house to the type of fencing you can use, to whether you're allowed to park an RV on your own land. People buy rural land to escape the tyranny of a homeowners association, only to discover their deed contains a set of rules from 1965 that are just as strict, if not stricter. You must get a copy of these documents and read every single word. Finally, we have the financial investigation, which goes far beyond your loan. This is about uncovering the hidden costs that can turn an affordable piece of land into a money pit. First and foremost, access. How do you physically get to your property? Is the road a public county-maintained road? Or is it a private road? If it's private, is there a legal easement in place ensuring you can use it? Is there a road maintenance agreement signed by all the property owners who use it? If not, you could be buying a landlocked parcel. You could own 50 acres of paradise that you have absolutely no legal right to drive to. Or you could be on the hook for $10,000 the first time a winter storm washes out that private dirt road. Next up, utilities. That raw, untouched land is beautiful, but it's also dark and disconnected. How far is the nearest power pole? A quarter mile? A full mile? The cost to run electricity isn't a few $100s. It can be tens of thousands of dollars per mile. The utility company isn't doing it for free. What about water? Is there a municipal water line you can tap into? Or will you need to drill a well? Drilling a well can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000 or more, with absolutely no guarantee of hitting water. And what about internet? In many rural parts of America, high-speed internet is still a fantasy. You might be looking at slow, unreliable satellite service as your only option. You need to get firm quotes for all of this. That bargain price on the land can evaporate fast when you add a $50,000 bill, just to get power and water to your build site. And don't forget property taxes. The taxes on a vacant piece of land are usually quite low, but the moment you build a house, the county will reassess the property. That tax bill can easily jump by a factor of 10 or 20 overnight. Ask the county tax assessor for an estimate of what the taxes would be on your planned home, so you aren't hit with a massive, unexpected annual expense a year after you move in. All of this, the survey, the perk test, the title search, the utility quotes, this is the entire purpose of the due diligence period. It's your chance to discover the truth, and your contract should have contingencies or escape clauses tied to these discoveries. A survey contingency, a perk test contingency, a financing contingency. These clauses are your legal right to walk away from the deal, with your earnest money deposit returned, if the land reveals a fatal flaw. Without them, you're gambling. With them, you're an investor. You've now put the land under a microscope, examining its body, its history, and its financial implications. You've unearthed its secrets and confirmed it is what it claims to be. The contingencies are met, your confidence is high, and your lender has given the final green light. The investigation is over. The trial is complete. The verdict is in, this is the one. Now, all that stands between you and ownership is one final formal ceremony. The closing. This is the moment you sign a mountain of paper, the money changes hands, and the keys, so to speak, are finally yours. But this final step is a minefield of its own, where a single misplaced document or a last-minute surprise can derail the entire transaction. So let's navigate that minefield together step by step. This final stage is officially known as closing or settlement, and it's orchestrated by a neutral third party, usually a title company or an escrow agent. Think of them as the referee in the final round of a championship fight. Their job is to make sure all the money goes to the right place, all the paperwork is signed correctly, and that the title to the land is transferred from the seller to you cleanly and legally. They follow the instructions laid out in your purchase agreement to the letter, ensuring neither you nor the seller can pull a fast one. Before you even get to the closing table, there's one critical mission you must undertake: the final walkthrough. Now, for a house, this is obvious. You check for damage, make sure the appliances are still there. But for land, people often skip this, and that is a massive mistake. This is your last chance to verify the property's condition before it becomes your problem. You're not just taking a casual stroll. You are walking the property with a fine-tooth comb. Are the boundary markers still in place and undisturbed? Has any new trash or debris been dumped on the property since your last visit? Are there any signs of new encroachment, like a neighbor suddenly extending their fence a few feet onto your soon-to-be land? You need to confirm that the property is in the exact condition you agreed to buy it in. If you discover a problem during this final walkthrough, you must raise it immediately with your agent and the title company. Don't wait. Once you sign those papers, you are accepting the property as is, and any new problems are yours to solve. at least 3 business days before your scheduled closing date, you will receive the single most important document in this entire process: the closing disclosure, or CD. Let me say that again, the closing disclosure. This is non-negotiable. Federal law mandates this 3-day review period, so you can't be rushed into signing something you don't understand. This document is the final, itemized breakdown of your entire transaction. It lists your loan terms, your projected monthly payments, and the grand total of all your closing costs. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to compare this document line by line with the loan estimate you received when you first applied for the loan. They should be nearly identical. Are the interest rate and loan term the same? Are the closing costs what you expected? Small variations are normal, but if you see a significant, unexplained increase in fees or a change in your interest rate, you need to pick up the phone and call your loan officer immediately. Do not be shy. This is your money and your future. That 3-day window is your power. It's your legal right to question everything and demand clarification before you're on the hook. Now let's talk about that big scary number on the closing disclosure: the closing costs. This is where many buyers get sticker shock. It's not just the down payment. It's a whole collection of fees that can add up to 2 to 5% of the loan amount. So what are you actually paying for? First, you have the lender fees. This includes the loan origination fee, which is what the lender charges for processing your loan, and points, which are optional fees you can pay to lower your interest rate. Then there are the third-party fees. This is the big bucket. It includes the appraisal fee, the survey fee we talked about earlier, and the flood certification fee. A huge chunk of this is for title services. You'll see a charge for a title search, where the title company scours public records to make sure the seller has the legal right to sell the property, and that there are no hidden liens or claims against it. You'll also pay for 2 types of title insurance. Yes, 2. The first is lender's title insurance, which is mandatory. It protects the lender's investment in case a title issue pops up later. The second is owner's title insurance, which is technically optional but something you absolutely 100% should get. This protects you. If someone comes out of the woodwork 5 years from now claiming your land actually belongs to their great-aunt Mildred, your owner's title insurance policy is what pays for the legal battle to defend your ownership. Skipping it is like building your dream cabin without a foundation. It's a foolish risk. Finally, you'll have prepaid items and escrow costs. This includes prepaying for your first year of property taxes and any homeowners association dues if applicable. The lender collects this upfront to ensure the taxes get paid, because a tax lien takes priority over their mortgage. All these fees, big and small, are laid out on your closing disclosure. It can feel overwhelming, but looking at it this way helps. You are paying a team of professionals, the lender, the appraiser, the surveyor, the title company, to ensure this massive investment is secure, legal, and truly yours. Then comes the day itself. Closing day. You'll go to the office of the title company, your attorney, or sometimes the lender. You'll need to bring a government-issued photo ID and, most importantly, the funds for your down payment and closing costs. And I don't mean a personal check. They won't accept it. You will need a cashier's check, or to have arranged a wire transfer in advance. Be extremely careful with wire transfers. Scammers often send fake wiring instructions, so always verbally confirm the details with the title company using a phone number you know is legitimate. You'll sit at a table in front of a stack of documents that looks like a novel. The closing agent will walk you through each one, but it can feel like a blur. Let's slow it down and focus on the 3 most important documents you'll sign. First is the promissory note. This is your IOU to the lender. It's your personal promise to repay the loan, detailing the total amount you owe, the interest rate, and the dates the payments are due. This is the document that makes you personally liable for the debt. Second, you'll sign either a mortgage or a deed of trust, depending on your state. While they function similarly, they are legally different. Both documents pledge your land as collateral for the loan. It's the security instrument that gives the lender the right to foreclose on the property if you fail to make your payments. This is the document that ties the loan directly to your land. And third, the most exciting one, the deed. This is the legal document that officially transfers ownership of the property from the seller to you. You'll review it to make sure your name is spelled correctly, and the legal description of the property is accurate. The seller will have already signed it or will sign it with you. This is the piece of paper that says the land is yours. Take your time. Read what you're signing. If you don't understand something, ask. Do not let anyone rush you. This is one of the biggest financial transactions of your life. Once you've signed everything and the closing agent has notarized your signatures, you're almost there. The final steps happen behind the scenes. The title company disperses all the funds, your down payment and the lender's loan money go to the seller, and all the various fees are paid to the respective parties. Then, the title company takes the signed deed to the county recorder's office to be officially recorded in the public record. This is the moment of truth. It's not when you sign the papers, but when that deed is officially recorded, that you become the legal owner of the land. The dream is no longer a stack of paperwork. It's a piece of America with your name on it. But ownership isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter, with its own set of challenges and responsibilities. That first moment you stand on your land, deed in hand, is intoxicating. The air feels different. The silence sounds richer. This isn't just dirt and trees. It's a promise. It's potential. But as the sun sets on that first perfect day, a new reality dawns. The thrill of the chase is over, and the marathon of stewardship has just begun. Owning land isn't a passive activity. It's an active relationship that demands attention, resources, and foresight. Your name is on the title, but now you have to earn the title of a true landowner. The very first bill that arrives will likely be for property taxes, and it's a stark reminder that you're now part of a larger system. Unlike a home, where your taxes are often bundled into an escrow account with your mortgage, with a land loan, you're almost always on your own. You'll be paying the county assessor directly. These taxes are the lifeblood of local services, schools, roads, emergency services, and your vacant land is expected to contribute. The amount you pay is based on the assessed value of your property, not what you paid for it. And this value can change. If your area sees a development boom, or if a new highway is planned nearby, your land's assessed value could climb, and so will your tax bill, long before you've ever hammered a single nail. Ignoring this bill is not an option. It leads to liens, penalties, and in the worst-case scenario, a tax sale where the county can literally sell your dreamland right out from under you to recoup the unpaid taxes. So rule number 1 of land ownership: know your property tax deadline and treat it with the same reverence as your mortgage payment. Right alongside taxes is the unglamorous but absolutely critical topic of insurance. You might think, it's just empty land, what do I need to insure? The answer is, you need to insure yourself against a world of possibilities. The most important coverage is liability insurance. Your property, whether it's fenced or not, is now your legal responsibility. If a hiker wanders onto your wooded acreage and twists an ankle in a gopher hole, you could be held liable. If a neighborhood kid decides your empty field is the perfect place to ride their dirt bike and gets hurt, their parents' first call might be to a lawyer. Even a simple no trespassing sign isn't a magical shield against a lawsuit. Liability insurance for vacant land is surprisingly affordable, often added as a rider to your homeowner's policy or as a standalone policy. It's a small price to pay for the peace of mind that a single accident won't lead to financial ruin and the loss of the very land you worked so hard to acquire. Beyond liability, consider the specific risks of your property. If your land is heavily wooded and located in a dry, high-risk area like California or Colorado, you might need to look into specialized fire insurance. If it has a creek or is in a floodplain, you know the drill. Flood insurance might be necessary. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about being prepared. It's about protecting your investment from the unpredictable forces of nature and human nature. With the practicalities of taxes and insurance sorted, the next step is to re-engage with the rules that govern your land. Remember all that due diligence you did on zoning and covenants? Now it's time to live by it. Before you even think about clearing a path for a driveway or digging a foundation, you need to have a crystal clear understanding of what you're allowed to do. You own the land, but the county, and sometimes a homeowners association, dictates its use. Want to build a small cabin to use on weekends? You'll likely need a building permit. Thinking of putting up a gate at the entrance? There may be rules about setbacks from the road. Dreaming of digging a pond? That could involve environmental impact studies and water rights issues. This is where you move from theory to practice. It's a good idea to schedule a meeting with the local planning and zoning department. Don't go in with a confrontational attitude. Go in as a partner. Introduce yourself as the new owner, express your excitement about being part of the community, and explain your long-term vision. These officials can be your greatest allies or your biggest roadblocks. By building a positive relationship from the start, you can navigate the bureaucracy much more smoothly. They can provide you with a checklist for permits, recommend local surveyors or engineers, and clarify any gray areas in the local ordinances. This single step can save you thousands of dollars in fines and months of delays down the road. Imagine spending $10,000 to clear a space for your home site, only to have a county inspector show up with a stop work order because you didn't get a $500 grading permit first. It happens more often than you think. Now let's talk about the land itself. Your first year of ownership is a year of observation. Before you bring in the bulldozers, spend time on the property through all 4 seasons. Where does the snow pile up in the winter? Where does the water pool after a spring rain? Which part of the property gets the best morning sun in the summer? Which trees provide the most shade in the afternoon? This intimate knowledge is invaluable. It will inform where you ultimately decide to build, plant a garden, or even just set up a campsite. During this time, you can tackle the foundational work. If you didn't get a survey during the purchase process, now is the time. A boundary survey will physically mark the corners of your property. It's the only way to know for sure where your land ends and your neighbor's begins. This is non-negotiable if you plan to build a fence, a road, or any structure near the property line. It prevents costly and bitter disputes with neighbors. While the surveyors are there, you can also have them do a topographical survey, which maps out the contours and elevation changes of your land. This is essential for planning drainage, septic systems, and foundation placement. Another critical test is the percolation test, or perk test. This determines how quickly water drains through your soil. If you're in a rural area without access to a city sewer system, the results of this test will dictate whether you can even install a septic system, and if so, what type and how large it needs to be. A failed perk test can be a catastrophic blow, potentially making the land unbuildable for a primary residence. It's a stark reminder that even after you own it, the land itself has the final say in what's possible. Finally, you must confront the hidden, ongoing costs of ownership. The mortgage, taxes, and insurance are the big 3, but a dozen smaller expenses can bleed you dry if you're not prepared. If your property is part of a rural subdivision, there might be HOA or road maintenance agreement fees to cover the upkeep of shared private roads. You are now responsible for land management. This could mean annual costs for mowing to keep weeds down and reduce fire risk. It could mean hiring a forester to help you manage your timber and remove dead or diseased trees that pose a hazard. You may need to invest in security, like cameras or better gates, to deter illegal dumping or trespassing, which are common problems for absentee landowners. These costs add up, and they should be factored into your long-term budget. Owning land is not a one-time purchase. It's an ongoing financial commitment. You've navigated the closing, secured the deed, and faced the first wave of responsibilities. You've paid your taxes, insured your investment, and started the slow, deliberate process of truly understanding the piece of earth you now call your own. You've laid the groundwork, both literally and figuratively. You have established a secure foundation. But this foundation is not the destination. It is merely the starting point for the real dream. You have the canvas, you have the permits, you have the plan. The question that remains, the one that will define your entire future on this land is, what masterpiece will you create? That masterpiece isn't just a house. It's a home, a sanctuary, a legacy. And building it requires a different kind of financial tool, a different kind of plan. You've conquered the land mortgage, the beast that guards the gate. Now, you must learn the language of the next phase, the construction loan. Think of a construction loan as the fuel for your building engine. Unlike a regular mortgage where you get a lump sum at closing, a construction loan is paid out in stages or draws, directly to your builder as they complete specific milestones. Foundation poured? That's a draw. Framing up? That's a draw. Roof on? You guessed it, that's another draw. The bank sends an inspector at each stage to verify the work is done correctly before releasing the next payment. This protects both you and the lender, ensuring the project stays on track and on budget. These loans are typically short-term, maybe a year or 18 months, and they're often interest-only. You're only paying interest on the money that's been drawn so far. This makes sense because why pay for the whole house when only the basement exists? But here's the critical part. At the end of the construction period, that loan comes due. The entire amount needs to be paid off. And that's where you face a crucial decision, a fork in the road that can save you thousands of dollars and a mountain of stress. You have 2 primary paths. The first is called a 2-time close. You get your construction loan, you build your house, and then once it's finished and you have a certificate of occupancy, you go out and find a brand new traditional mortgage to pay off the construction loan. The advantage here is that you can shop around for the best possible mortgage rates at that time. If rates have dropped while you were building, you could luck out. The disadvantage? You're going through the entire underwriting and closing process twice. 2 sets of fees, 2 credit pulls, 2 piles of paperwork. And you're at the mercy of the market. If interest rates have skyrocketed, or if your financial situation has changed, you could be in a very tough spot. The second path, and the one that's become increasingly popular, is the one-time close, or the construction to permanent loan. This is the holy grail for many land buyers. It's a single loan that seamlessly combines the construction financing and the permanent mortgage. You go through one application, one underwriting process, and one closing. During construction, it functions like an interest-only construction loan. The moment the house is finished, it automatically converts into a standard, long-term mortgage, usually a 15 or 30-year fixed rate that you locked in before the first shovel ever hit the ground. The peace of mind this offers is immense. You know your final interest rate from day one. There's no risk of failing to qualify for that second loan. It's a smooth, predictable path from dirt to doorknobs. But securing one of these loans means the bank is scrutinizing not just you but your entire plan. They will want to see detailed architectural blueprints. They will demand a line-item budget from your builder, accounting for everything from nails to negotiations. And most importantly, they will vet your builder as thoroughly as they vet you. The bank is not just lending you money. They are investing in your builder's ability to deliver a finished home. They need to trust that the person holding the hammer is as reliable as the person signing the checks. This brings us to the most important relationship you will form in this entire journey. More important than your loan officer, your real estate agent, or your zoning official. It's your relationship with your builder. This is not a transaction. It's a partnership. You are entrusting this person with your dream and a significant amount of your money. Do not take this choice lightly. Interview multiple builders. Ask for references and actually call them. Don't just ask if they were happy with the final product. Ask about the process. How was the communication? When problems arose, how were they handled? Did the project stay on budget? Did it stay on schedule? Go and see their previous work in person. Look at the details, the fit and finish, the quality of the craftsmanship. A good builder builds a good house. A great builder builds a great house and makes the journey enjoyable. A bad builder can turn your dream into a waking nightmare of liens, delays, and shoddy work. And what if you are the builder? What if your dream involves the satisfying ache of sweat equity? The idea is quintessentially American. Trading your own labor for financial value in your home. It's a powerful concept, and for the right person, it can be an incredible way to build a home you couldn't otherwise afford. But you must be brutally honest with yourself. Sweat equity is not a weekend hobby. It is a second, unpaid, all-consuming job. Do you have the skills? Not just the ability to swing a hammer, but to plumb a line, wire an outlet to code, and flash a window correctly. Do you have the time? Building a house yourself can take years, stretching your finances and your relationships to their breaking point. And do you have the resilience? Because there will be a moment, standing in the mud on a cold Tuesday night after your real job, when you wonder what you've gotten yourself into. Lenders are also wary of sweat equity. Many will only finance a home built by a licensed general contractor. Some may allow you to act as your own contractor, but they'll still require you to hire licensed subcontractors for major systems like electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. If you plan to go this route, have that conversation with your lender up front. Whether you hire a pro or do it yourself, the masterpiece you're creating extends beyond the four walls of your house. You are now a steward of this specific piece of America. The decisions you make will echo for generations. Will you plant a native meadow to support pollinators or a manicured lawn that requires constant chemicals? Will you manage your woods for fire safety and forest health, or let it become overgrown? Will you place your home thoughtfully to capture the winter sun and block the summer heat, reducing your energy footprint for decades to come? Buying the land was the first chapter. Building the house is the second. Living on the land, caring for it, becoming part of its story. That is the book of your life. And just like a mortgage, it comes with ongoing responsibilities. Your property taxes, once based on the value of raw land, will increase dramatically once a home is built. Your insurance needs will change. And there is no landlord to call when the well pump fails or the septic system needs maintenance. You are the master of your domain, and with that title comes the duty of upkeep. The long gravel driveway will need grading. The trees will need pruning. The quiet self-sufficiency you sought comes hand in hand with self-reliance. So we stand here, at the end of this journey through the world of land mortgages, permits, and plans. We've navigated the complexities of financing, the challenges of due diligence, and the vision required to see a home where there is only dirt. It is a daunting path, littered with obstacles designed to turn people back. But the reward is singular. It's the feeling of turning a key in a lock that you chose, in a door that you hung, in a house that exists only because you dared to dream it. It's watching your children climb a tree that you planted. It's the profound, bone-deep satisfaction of drinking a cup of coffee on your own porch, looking out over your own land, knowing that every single struggle was worth it. Buying land and building a home is more than a financial transaction. It's a declaration of independence. It's a commitment to a place, to a community, to a future. It is the ultimate creative act. The path is long, the work is hard, but the prize is a piece of the American dream that you didn't just buy. You built it with your own vision, your own grit, and your own hands. Now go build your masterpiece.